Hey guys, and welcome back. If you are new here, hi, my name is Liz, and I'll be your host on this terrifying journey through lore, legends, and the most horrific thing of all, laundry. We are just a few days away from Halloween, and I can't wait to see all the costumes, the decorations, and trick my kids into thinking we ate all of their candy. Jumping right into things like that decision to go to a haunted house, and you definitely are not a haunted house person, but your friends insisted it wasn't scary. Well, this legend is sure to leave you with some goosebumps. This one was suggested to me by a listener, and one that I've heard a few times over the years. Stories of a midnight visit from the devil himself, and of a poor woman locked away forever, even after her physical body has been long gone from this world. If you haven't already, grab those baskets, restart the washer, and find a comfy seat, because this is the legend of the devil in Loftus Hall. Driving along the secluded road that goes down the picturesque Hook Peninsula in Ireland's ancient east, it is easy to identify the estate that has gained the reputation of being Ireland's most haunted house. If ever a structure embodied the cliché of a haunted house by its gory and depressing past, it was this one. Loftus Hall towers above the surrounding terrain, positioned against a craggy and windswept coastline backdrop. Its medieval walls have witnessed invasion, captivity, plague, starvation, and a slew of personal tragedies, many of which have become eerie legends. Loftus Hall's history begins around 1170 AD when Raymond, or Redmond Fitzgerald, dubbed Le Gros, or the Fat, landed at Baginbun Head in what is now County Wexford in Ireland. It is a well-known location in Irish history, described as the place where Ireland was lost and won. Raymond was among the first of a small band of Norman knights who actively participated in enforcing Norman sovereignty over Ireland. He bought land in the vicinity and erected Houseland Castle, which is now a tourist attraction. It deteriorated throughout time, and in 1350, descendants of Raymond Le Gros built the hall, also known as Redmond Hall. The Redmond family owned the hall until the mid-1600s, when the castle was repeatedly attacked and eventually captured as part of the Cromwellian confiscations. On July 20th, 1642, Alexander Redmond, who was 68 at the time, managed to defend the hall against roughly 90 English invaders, with the support of his two sons, some tenants, 2 soldiers, and a tailor. After repelling numerous more invasions, Cromwell granted Alexander Redmond favorable terms. When Redmond died in 1651, his family was removed from the hall and their home was auctioned off. In 1666, yes, I'm sure we're all thinking the same thing. This has got to be some kind of dark omen for what's to come, right? Anyway, Henry Loftus, who was born in Yorkshire, England, purchased the confiscated estates and renamed the mansion Loftus Hall. Over the decades and centuries that followed, the Loftus family progressed through the peerage, spawning barons, viscounts, earls, and marquises. And the distinguished family hoped that as they climbed the aristocratic ladder, Queen Victoria would pay them a visit. With that purpose in mind, the 4th Marquess of Ely, John Henry Loftus, undertook a massive refurbishment of the hall between 1870 and 1879 to make it bigger than ever before. Although it is often assumed that Loftus Hall was totally demolished and rebuilt, there is evidence that much of the original hall was reused and incorporated into the mansion seen today. Loftus Hall was renovated with no money spared. The hall, built as a 3-story house with a balustraded parapet, features an intricate mosaic floor and a beautiful grand staircase hand-carved by Italian artisans. According to local legend, the beautiful mosaic tiled floor that is laid beyond the front door was created by 2 Italian tilers who were brought over specifically to work on Loftus Hall. They used intricate patterns and artistic designs. Instead of paying the tradesmen for a job well done, the 2 artisans were taken to the field in front of the hall, and their hands were severed. It is said that this would prevent them from being able to replicate the tiled pattern, which is covered in Masonic symbolism in another location. The house was undoubtedly suited for a queen, but Queen Victoria never arrived, leaving the Loftus family deeply disappointed. While its rich and colorful past draws history aficionados, it is the folklore, inexplicable mysteries, and tales of ghostly apparitions that have made Loftus Hall one of the most visited mansions in Ireland. The legends are based on Anne Tottenham's life and subsequent death. Charles Tottenham married the Honorable Anne Loftus, daughter of the first Viscount Loftus, in the mid-1600s, and they had 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Anne. His wife, however, fell ill and died while the girls were still little. Tottenham married his cousin Jane Cliff 2 years later, and they lived in Loftus Hall with Anne. A ship arrived at the Hook Peninsula one night during a fierce storm, and a young man approached Loftus Hall asking if he may take shelter there. Strangers frequently came knocking, as the harsh waters off the South Wexford coast frequently resulted in ships being grounded or shattered by the rocks. The man was invited in and ended up staying for several weeks. During this period, Anne, now a young woman, fell in love with a stranger and spent countless hours in the tapestry room conversing with him. According to local lore, Anne was playing cards with the stranger and other guests one evening when she reached down beneath the table to retrieve a card she had lost, and to her surprise, the stranger had cloven hooves. She shrieked loudly. The stranger then revealed himself to be the devil. He morphed into a ball of fire and shot through the roof, leaving Anne very traumatized and unable to recover. Okay, I mean, I have my fair share of terrible dating stories, but I don't think I could compare any of them to what Anne just went through. But I have so many questions about this. Like, she had spoken with him many of times, so why did she just now notice his cloven feet? Maybe it was just a red flag she overlooked, her rose-colored glasses blinding her by the gentleman's strange swagger. We have all been there, right? Who can blame the poor girl? But we may never know exactly what happened, because Anne's mental health soon deteriorated. Her family, humiliated by her actions, locked her in a chamber in the house where she remained until her death in 1775. Loftus Hall is claimed to have been tormented by significant poltergeist activity from this point on, with the troubled Anne never able to rest in peace. The family summoned several Protestant ministers to put a stop to it, but none were able to rid the house of the demonic energies. In their desperation, the Protestant family enlisted the help of a Catholic priest who was a tenant of their estate, Father Thomas Broaders, who was successful in ridding the house of evil forces. There is no evidence that his gravestone ever contained the inscription, "Here lies the body of Thomas Broaders, who did good and prayed for all, and who banished the devil from Loftus Hall." However, this is widely believed. I mean, who wouldn't want that on their gravestone? That's like the most badass thing someone could have carved into their eternal slab of marble. Oh, to be a fly on the wall during that funeral. So it's safe to suggest that many of the elements in this tale are likely to be made up. Nonetheless, according to tales dating back over a century, Anne was actually confined to a room in Loftus Hall until her death. So what really happened here? The story of the cloven foot and the devil flying through the roof was most likely made up by the Loftus family to dissuade beggars and other strangers from visiting the hall. After all, they were keen to lure Queen Victoria to pay them a visit, and the last thing they needed was undesirables getting in the way. This begs the question of whether Anne was truly confined owing to mental illness, or if there was another reason for her tragic death. According to one alternative story, the stranger fell in love with Anne and asked Charles Tottenham for her hand in marriage, but was denied. Anne was saddened when he was turned away from the residence. However, there is another twist to this story. During the restoration of Loftus Hall, the skeletal remains of a tiny newborn were discovered between the walls in what is thought to have been Anne's locked room. Was Anne pregnant with the stranger's child, bringing dishonor to her family? This may have given her father a reason to put her away, never to be seen again. According to one local narrative, Anne died during childbirth after her father failed to tell anybody about her pregnancy, including the local doctor, and she endured medical problems that led to her death. Anne Tottenham's grave is now located in Wexford Cemetery, but there's something odd about it. It is totally cemented over, unlike the adjacent tombs. The individuals who buried her plainly intended to make sure no one ever saw the body. What dark secrets did Anne take with her to her grave? Loftus Hall is metaphorically haunted by its dark and tragic history. One can almost sense the misery and trauma that has occurred within its walls. Is Anne's spirit still roaming the cold and empty rooms of the mansion as it remains today? Many people believe the answer is yes. Indeed, American ghost hunters investigated the residence thoroughly and claimed to have discovered numerous anomalies. Loftus Hall solidified its reputation as Ireland's most haunted mansion in 2014 when a guest on a tour thought he captured a terrifying apparition on his camera. It then went viral, capturing the attention of people all around the world. Thomas Beavis said he was looking through his camera's images when he observed the ghostly silhouettes of a young woman and an elderly woman in a window. The Loftus family became bankrupt in the early 20th century, and after the death of the last member of the Loftus family, it was taken over by the Benedictines, who occupied it until 1935. The Sisters of Providence transformed it into a convent and school for young girls interested in joining the order in 1937. Locals claim that people were afraid to attend Mass in its chapel because of the rumors of the devil himself visiting the hall. Loftus Hall was purchased by Michael Devereaux in 1983, and it was reopened as the Loftus Hall Hotel. Michael died in the hall, and his wife battled for several years to operate the hotel on her own, until one night she vanished without a trace, leaving everything behind. Loftus Hall then went through another dark period in which it was left abandoned but was illegally occupied for nearly a decade by persons conducting satanic rituals and meetings. It was purchased in 2011 by the Quigley family, who began working on an expansive restoration project but went up for sale again in 2020. Today, Loftus Hall is open to the public courtesy of the unknown buyer who purchased the hall in 2021, and you can take a tour of the mansion and the grounds. Would you dare walk the same grounds as the devil? Well, it's that time again. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening and for all of your support. We have a spectacular trick-or-treat coming up for Halloween. I can't wait for you all to hear it. I'm fighting the urge to give out spoilers, but you'll just have to trust me and tune in. As always, we welcome you to join us over on Facebook and Instagram as we post pictures for each episode there. You can find us by searching facebook.com/Lore Legends Laundry and instagram.com/Lore Legends Laundry. Also, if you have any suggestions or just want to say hi, send us a message at lorelegendslaundry@gmail.com. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, be sure to subscribe, and if you like us, leave us a written review or simply give us a thumbs up. It's always appreciated. Until next time, bye guys, and don't forget to switch to the laundry.